So, I'm here because I'm going to show you how to make your very own first-person controller in Cryengine without any of the game SDK stuff. First off, let's create a blank C# project. I'm going to call this, I'm calling it Voxel Cry. Alright, let's open up the sandbox editor, head into example, and let's get started. First off, we need an empty entity. It's going to be 500, 532. Alright, with that entity, I'm going to call it player. And we're going to give it a mesh and a rigid body. Alright, for the mesh part, make sure its mass is 90, and we'll give it object default, we'll give it a cylinder. So we're just going to turn that on to collider only. Next off, we're going to make a new empty, and this is going to be our player camera. Alright, it's going to be dragged inside of the player as a child. And it's going to be 0, 0, 0, and we're going to type in camera. Well, actually, I'm going to make the C 3.5. So now we can see all this. If we press play, we automatically go into the camera's view. So let's make our scripts. So we're going to need a new folder. Scripts. I'm going to call this player. Alright, then I'm going to call this one camera view. Alright. So with these two scripts, I'm going to exit out of the engine, and I'm going to head into Documents, Cryengine Projects, Voxel Cry, and we are going to generate a solution. Alright, we're just going to pop open the solution in Visual Studio. And open up our player and our camera view. First off, let's do our player. So we're going to need some variables. First off, we're going to have an entity property. It's going to be a primitive, and we're going to call this, where this is going to be how fast the player moves. And that's going to be a public float move speed. It's going to be a set get equals 5f. Then a private vector2 player input, private vector2 vector3 direction, private vector3 velocity. Alright, with that, we're going to make a new private void called getPlayerInput. And it's going to be an input event, and it's just going to set velocity to vector 3.0. So if input event dot key down, so if we're pressing the W key, we're going to make two global variables called vertical and horizontal. If these look familiar, yes, I'm borrowing off of how Unity labels stuff. So set vertical to 1f and touch key down, key id.s, we're going to set vertical to -1f. dot key up. So if we let go of W, or input event dot key up, or if we let go of the S key, vertical equals 0.0f. We can just copy and paste all this crap and put it for horizontal. So DA, horizontal, horizontal. Now, player input equals a new vector2, horizontal, vertical. Alright, now we need to call the value. So we're going to do a protected override void on gameplay start. We're going to do input dot on key, so whenever we press a key, we're going to add get player input. No, we do not need parentheses. Alright, so now we gotta prepare the rigid body for collisions. Private void prepare rigid body. Alright, we're gonna make a variable physical entity. We're gonna set that to entity. We're now a new living physical parameter. Or no, this is going to be called parameters. After we check if physical, no, entity dot physics is not equal null. And then else if entity dot physics equals null, we're gonna stop everything, so return. Alright, now we're gonna get all the other stuff set in. So variable player dimensions equals parameters dot player dimensions, parameters dot mass equals 90f, parameter, no, player dimensions dot pivot height equals 1f, and then entity dot physics dot physicalize parameters. Alright, we can exit out of that, and then before we do input, we're gonna prepare our rigid body. Now for the best part about this, movement. So for this, we're gonna make a private void movement. We're gonna have a float called frame time, and we'll start. First off, we're gonna make a variable called physical entity. We're gonna set this to entity dot physics. Then we're gonna check if physical entity, if we do not have any physics, then we're gonna return with a value of 0. Now after that, we're gonna make our direction variable to camera dot transform direction, new vector3, player input dot x, player input dot y at 0. With that, we're going to do direction multiplication equals our move speed and multiplied by our frame time. Then we're just going to make it so that we don't go faster diagonally. We're going to do that by setting it to direction dot normalized. Alright, well actually before that we don't want to fly, so we're going to do direction dot z equals 0. Alright, now with all of this, we're actually gonna do one more thing. So if is grounded. Alright, so we're gonna make a private bool called isGrounded. Now, to set isGrounded, we're gonna make a variable called we're actually just gonna set isGrounded to physical entity dot get status living status dot is flying, and we're just gonna set that to negative because so if we're not flying, we're grounded. So if is grounded, return. We don't want to move while we're flying. So with all this set, we're going to just set velocity to direction. Then we're just going to do something very simple. Entity dot position plus equals velocity. Or what you could do is you could do either one of two things. You could do that or physical entity dot move velocity. We'll try both. Let's try this one first. But nothing will work because we have to tell it to trigger. So we're going to make a protected override void on update, and we're just going to do movement, and our frame time is our frame time. Bam. Alright, really quickly we can probably get rotation in. So variables, we need a public float, actually entity property dot primitive how fast the camera rotates turns. So then we're gonna have to have a public float sensitivity. It's gonna be a set get. The reason why we do that is to tell the game that we can set or get the value, and that's gonna be 0.004f. And we're gonna need a public float xrot 0.0f. Actually no, private float yrot 0f. Alright, we need a private void rotate camera and body. Alright, so for this we're just gonna do xrot equals input dot get input value key ID mouse x, multiply that by sensitivity. Same thing for yrot, except input dot get input value key ID dot mouse y, multiply that by sensitivity, and entity dot rotation equals quaternion dot create. Alright, that, and that's gonna be yrot. And I just forgot something. You have to do minus equals or else it's not gonna work at all, trust me. So seems about right. And then if entity dot parent not equal null, entity dot parent dot rotation equals quaternion dot create rotation z mouse x, not mouse x, xrot. And really quickly, let's clamp the yrot. So if yrot is greater than 90, yrot equals 0 or equals 90f. If yrot is less than negative 90, then yrot equals negative 90f. So this basically clamps rotation. Alright, now we need to just call it, so protected override void on update, rotate camera and body. Alright, let's reopen up our project. Takes a little bit to open up. Minimize, reload that, open this back up, levels, example. Alright, with this on our player, we're going to add our player script, and on our camera, we're going to add our camera view. F7, save, or yeah, F7, save attention. So now you can see, okay, yeah, we're able to move extremely fast. It's really nice. And what do you know? Clamping doesn't work. Oh, okay. Let's fix up the movement. So I'll just set that to 1. And let's grab a cube. Come on, cube, there we go. To test and see if our rotation works. Oh, not rotation, collision works. Okay, rigid body. No. Whoa. Why does it need a rigid body? Yes, it does. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, so now you got some pretty good collision and everything. You have really fast movement. Okay, let's fix that. So maybe like 0.5. Here, and also let's fix up the collision shape. So drag this out. Never mind. Oh yeah, we can just set that in mesh. So Z2. Oh shit. So now, yep. Alright, let's fix up the camera planes really quick. Near plane 0.05. Alright, let's make this more fun. So we'll add a physics constraint. It's going to be a point constraint, and I'll set it above to 2. Let's really quickly simulate with physics. Okay, what if we bring it up a little bit? Then if we simulate it. Whoa. Didn't know that was gonna happen. So what if we set axes to -1? Whoa, no. 0. Okay, what about 1? What about 1? What about 5? No. 0, 0, 1. Oh. Oops. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a problem. Here, why don't we do this? Actually, let's stop simulating for a minute, and let's get this rotated at 180. On 0. On Y. Yeah, 180. There we go. Then let's just drag it up by a little bit, and now didn't mean to do that, I meant to do this. Okay, I guess we can set this back to 0. Then, if we simulate, crap. I'm sorry, I set this to 1. What is it with it doing this? If we free the position... Oh, is it because its mass is 1? That's probably making a lot of sense, okay. Okay, how about this? Maximum angle, 45. Oh, I have free position. No. Simulate now. What the hell? Zero. How about 180? 180, 180. Oops. Here, let's think about it, okay? So, X, Y, Z. So we have, on this it's 0. On X, it's 1. Oh. I swear to God, you better not go up. Okay, and then what about... Okay, how about this, 180? Okay... Yeah, this really got sidetracked. Well, now you have a proper player with collisions and everything else. I hope you, and don't, again, I highly recommend that you use this form of movement rather than that. So I hope you all have a good day. I'm logging off. Goodbye.